welcome after a long time to the Java Academy. So, in this particular tutorial, we are looking at how to handle security in the whole banking app that we've been creating. So, if you look in here now, I've added some dependencies. So, because of time, I had to actually copy and paste these guys just before starting this recording. So here we are now. We have a number of dependencies. So the first one is Spring Boot Starter Security. So this would ensure that once we run this project, it is secure by default. Then the second one is JJWT API, JJWT IMPL, JJWT JAX. So as we are going to be using JWT based authentication, so I had to add all of these JWT based dependencies too. Okay, so yeah, I think at this point we are good to go. So before anything, let me try running this project. Ensure that we have no errors from the beginning, and then we will be good to go. So while this is running, I think I should also take us through the process of doing our handling our security. So there are a number of things we need to do. We've added our dependencies already. Then, so if you recall from our user entity here, we are only collecting the details of the user, but we are actually not collecting the user's password, right? So if a user is trying to log in now, he's trying to log in with his username as well as his password, right? Okay, so that's basically what that's something that we need to correct here. Also, in our user sign up request, the DTO that handles create the create account endpoint. So there's also no password there. So we need to also correct this. So if you look at user service implementation here, okay, so we are basically not so we are basically not we have an endpoint here for create accounts or its method for create accounts. So this method here is going to serve as our method for sign up. Okay. So however, we are not saving passwords too. So we need to also work on this. So meanwhile, since there's an error here, okay. So I think I should make this guy implement. I made some changes outside of the tutorial. So I just want to be sure that everything is fine before I actually start. Okay. So once you are done with running this, okay, good. So the application now runs, and you can see here that we are generating a security password which was not available before. This is due to the Spring Security dependency that we added. So at the moment now, if I try to test this app here, so let's say I want to, okay, so let's say I change this password, this email now, for example, right? And send this request. So it tells me I'm unauthorized. Okay. So and um, that's simply because I've added Spring Security. So what Spring Security does is that by the time you add that dependency, you no longer have access to all your endpoints. So unless you provide a password, right? So to do that here, I could just do uh, yeah, basic words. So let's do user is a default username, and this password that is generated here, I'll just copy it, and then it will be my password here. Save and then run this. It's telling me unauthorized. So anyway, let's handle our security, and then I think we would be good to go. Okay, so the first step is to update our entity class here so that we can save the user's password, private string password. Okay, so another point to note here is that it is not the plain text password we are going to be saving. The password will be encrypted. So, and it's that encrypted password that would now be saved. Okay, so I think I should also open my postman. So my postman is open already, and that's not what I wanted to open. I want to open my workbench or any other SQL clients that you want to use. So, okay, so I've added password. Don't forget we are saving encrypted password. So then come to user request here. I also need to send password as part of my request on signing up. So string password. So this is the first step. So yeah, so in here, okay, so here are my users. So you can see that all the current users don't have passwords yet. So and I only have two users here actually. So the next thing I will do is I need to have a method that can be used for encrypting my passwords. So that's the next thing I'm actually going to set up now. Okay, so let me create a new package that will handle everything that is security based. So I then call it config. Okay, so in this config now, I'll just add a class. Let's call it security config. So this class is going to be annotated, which should can make it take a number of annotations like configuration. Okay, and because of other things we are going to be doing, let's enable web security. Let's enable method security as well. So for now we are good. Okay. So yeah. So the other thing I need to do at this point is this. So a method password encoder, password encoder. So this encodes or it encrypts your password for you. So you can decrypt password encoder. Yeah, so return. I forgot the new keyword. Okay, so this is going to undo the encrypting of our password. So add at being annotation here. Okay, so now that this is done, so I now need to go into the user implementation service here. Okay, and then in this place here, I basically need to I need to add yes, I need to add a dependency here. Okay, so I could just do auto wired password encoder, password encoder. So this I should be able to encode my password. So So anyway, if you want to see how this guy works, you can quickly run a test here. Okay, so let's create a main method here just for this test, and then we can do this password. Okay, so I think I need to create an object of this like this. It's so here I can just call that method password encoder dot encode. Let's say my password is 1234. Okay, so then let me run this now so that you see how that method will work. It says it can't do this. Okay, so that's because I've not created the constructor. Okay, just for this purpose, let me do all args constructor here. And let me try running this again. Oh, okay. Okay, no problems. I think I need to specify all the different fields in here. So let's continue. We'll see how this works when I run that method. Okay, we'll see how this works when I run this method. So if I come, yeah, this is where I need to come. Yeah, this guy here. So in here, I'll just add a statement for password. Then user request dot get password. So if you recall, I've added password field here, and I've also added password field here, so I'm able to have access to both of them. I'm able to have access to both of them in the implementation class. Okay, so yeah. Okay, so before continuing, there's one more thing I think I should add here. So if you look inside the security config here, so it doesn't make sense that my create account method or endpoint uh, being uh, is actually being secure, or it requires security. So what I should do is I should whitelist it and ensure that the user, anyone who wants to use that method, does not require to enter a password when it's running this application. So yeah, and this is something that makes sense. Your sign up endpoint, your login endpoints, you should not need to sign in before you can use them. So let's try to add that configuration so that we don't need to provide so that we don't need to provide any password or any sort of authentication for our create account endpoint. Okay, so inside this method here, I'm going to create a bin of security filter chain. So at bin security uh, filter chain, call it security filter chain. So you take in parameter of type HTTP security. So here there are some changes from the old method of handling Spring Security that we are going to factor in. So here we could just do abstract configurer. So but then if you don't want to use abstract configurer, what you could just do is CSRF. So you pass in a lambda and CSRF dot disable. Okay. So this would work. Okay. So I think I need to add an exception. So add exception to method signature. And then we are good. Okay, so aside this, we now need to authorize some certain endpoints, authorize HTTP requests. So in here, I'll just pass another lambda authorize, and then authorize dot request matches. Okay, so and then I think HTTP. So the HTTP method is a post method. Okay. Then the endpoint that I want to be whitelisted. So that when I try to access that endpoint, I'm not required to pass in a username or password. So let me look at this endpoint here. So you can see slash API slash user, right? And then the particular endpoint for this it's only a post mapping. So all I just need is slash API slash user in there. So I will just come here, add slash API slash user, and then we are good. So yeah, so once this is so with this now we are saying that any post request that is sent to that endpoint does not need to does not need any authentication. So here I'll just add dot permit all. Okay. So basically anyone who calls that endpoint just permits them. Okay. And then yeah, I think we have permit all. Then any request. So yeah, which is fine. So the other thing that I need to add here is HTTP. I need to add something for session management. So this will be another lambda. So session dot session creation policy. So and then this will take in a parameter here. Okay. So session creation policy dot stateless. Okay. Then in here. Okay. So I think for now this should be I would add other things to this later on. So return HTTP security. Oh, sorry, that's build. So let me try to run this again. Okay, so let's run this now. And this time I won't be needing this. Let me just ignore it. And then here, so let me just create this. But, let's say it as mail. Let me pass in my email address. Okay. So yeah, I need my password now. So just so that I can easily remember, I'll use 1234 as my password. Save and then send. Oh, it says this user has an account already created. Okay, let me try another email address. So, but you can see now that I have access to this. I have access to this endpoint already. So here I'll just do. Let me change to another password that I have access to. And send. Okay. So you see that the account is created now. So what I have basically done here is I have successfully whitelisted these endpoints, okay, such that I no longer need to authenticate the user when he's using this endpoint. So and this is quite typical of what happens in the real world. Your sign up endpoint, your login endpoint, you don't need to provide to authenticate those endpoints before you can send your request. And that is basically what we have handled here. Okay, so we are going to be adding more stuffs in here to ensure that we can actually do a number of other things. So, but for now, I think we are good. And then we are, so if I refresh now, so you can see here that this is the last user I added. Okay, if we keep scrolling now, you will see, yeah. Oh, my password is 1234. I made a mistake here. That keeps my mind totally. So in here now, I think yes. So I made a mistake here. I need to actually encode this password before sending the request. So here I'll just put password encoder dot encode, then pass in this request, and then add, yeah. So this is basically what I needed to have done here. Okay, so this will encode the password for me. So what I will do now is let me delete this user and then send the request again. So typically, you don't want to save plain text password, as anyone with access to this email now would to this database would be able to have access to your client's password. So yeah, so let me send this now. Yep. So it's created now, and then let's check again. So our focus now is on the password. It's on the password now. Wow, this is still giving me this. Oh, actually, I didn't rerun this. So let me rerun and then send again. So I need to delete again. Okay. So let's wait while it runs. Okay. So we are good now. And then, so let me send that request again. So one of the reasons why it takes a bit of time to run is yeah, is the email we are sending. So this works just fine now. And then if we check this out again, so you see here now that we now have an encrypted password that is saved. So when you are now trying to log in, right, the password you sent in logging in will also be encrypted and then compares to this. So you will then be allowed to log in or not. Okay, so that's just the crucial first step out of the way now. So yeah, so there are quite a number of other things we need to do here. So as I said, we are going to be making use of JWT based authentication now. So let's do all of those configuration files that we need. So it can be quite a cumbersome step, but then we'll just take it one at a go. So the very first thing we are going to add is something called a JWT authentication entry point. So this would implement an interface called authentication entry points from Spring framework. Okay. So and then it tells you to implement some methods. So let's implement that method, which is this comments. Okay. So this is the only method we need to so here I would need to annotate this without components at least. Okay. And then here, so I will just pick this guy here, response. It's just a single statement, dot send error, and it will be HTTP servlet response. HTTP servlet response. I think what I need there is unauthorized. Yeah, yes. Okay. So basically, I'm trying to check this request that is sent here. So if it is unauthorized, I want it to return this error code 401 and then an exception as well. So okay, so let's see. So up exception dot get message. Yeah. So this one just handles the case of unauthorized access. So it just returns this message for you. So the other part here is where we generate our token. Okay. So how to generate where we generate our JWT token. So the token actually contains information about who is sending the request, right? So that's basically what we need to do. How we generate our token is the next step now. So here we'll do AWT authentication filter. Okay. So again, let's not forget our components. So extends once per request filter. Okay. Okay. So this would need a number of dependencies too. And yeah, so let me just add this. So I'm going to create this class, AWT token provider. So this token provider will generate the token for me. And then this class would try to pass or try to understand or extract values from that token. So AWT token provider. So also I need a bin of user details service. User details service. Okay. So before continuing, let me create a class called AWT token provider. Okay. So then one more thing I need to do here is so I also need a so down in this service implementation here, I will also create a class, call it custom user details service. So this user details service would implement user details service interface. And then let's implement the methods too. Okay, good. So we would come back to this later on. Okay, so let's come back here. Okay, so let's come to our token provider. Okay, so okay, so in this token provider here, I basically need this is where I'll be generating my token anyway. So yeah, let's call this as components. Okay. And I think one thing I need to do is I need to add. Okay, yes. So in here now, I've actually added a JWT secret, which has to be 256 bits. So there's a way we can generate this secret key here. So I'm just going to show you how you can do this. Then also another point is JWT expiration. So this is in milliseconds. Okay. So this would handle when your JWT token would expire. So this is about 24 hours if my calculation is right. So meaning we are trying to ensure that our token doesn't expire until after 24 hours. So these are two important attributes. So how do we generate this 256 bits uh, string in here? So let me just show you how you can generate that. So here we could do so what we'll just do is generate 256 bit key. Okay, so you could use this. Yeah, okay. Yeah, 256 right. Okay. So data to encrypt. So you could just do let's say my secret key. This guy would encrypt this particular text here. So where is that? This is not it. It won't work. Okay, let me look for this. Generating 256 secret vulnerability. Yeah, I think it should work now. So you can see in here I have this. Yeah. So basically you could this still won't work. Okay. Okay, let's continue. I guess I would have to use provide this key that I'm using in the tutorial as well. So yeah, so I think I can just continue now. So yeah, so let's come back to this and this and this. Okay, so at this point here, I would check private string JWT secrets. So if you, as you can see, I've actually added this secret key here that will help me generate my JWT token. Okay, so I just need to access that particular value from the application.properties. So to access a value from application.properties, you use this at value annotation from framework.base, not from Lombok. Okay. Then in here, you just need to do it dollar and the name of this particular key here. I'll just copy it, Ctrl T, and then come back in here, paste it, and then we are good. We have access to that particular value. So the other thing I need is the expiration of that token. Private, so it should be a long. call it JWT expiration date. Okay. I'm also going to get that value from here as well. So this time I'll just copy this key to have access to this value. So come back here and then dollar this guy. So we have access to these two guys. So yeah. So then the next step is a method to generate this token itself. So public string generates token, then take um, a parameter for authentication. Okay. Then here we got a string username equals to authentication dot get name. So when you sign in now, the user that is being authenticated, you get is the name or the username is using to sign on or trying to log in with. So in this case, it will be our own email. Okay. Then a variable for current dates. This date from java.util, current date equals new date. So with this, we get access to the current date. At the point where you are trying to log in, you generate the current date of that particular moment. And then we now need to check the expiry date too. So this will be new date. Okay. So in here, we just get current date, right? Does get time. So you are getting that current time that you signed in, then plus you now had the JWT expiration date. So if you sign in at 10 o'clock now, we now had this value here, 864 and yeah, 8,640,000 value that we actually put in here. It will be added to the current time and then your token will then expire at this particular time here. So that's basically what we've done. Okay, so we return BWTS. Okay, so this is the token we get. Dot builder. Okay, dot set subject. Okay, so these are the things that are used in building the token. So the subject will be the username, right? That username is encrypted into a token. Set issue that. So the date this token was generated is also taken note of, current date. And you also set the expiration of that token, which will be the expire date we calculated here. And then you also sign this token. So we are going to create a method for signing uh, this token just shortly now and then come back. So this is what we are done. Okay, so we need to create this signing key to sign this algorithm. So in here, I will just create a method that returns key of return type key. And it will be this key. Okay. So yeah, basically we just need to do this. We need to should I break it down into two statements? Okay. Right array of bytes. So this is what this key is going to be used to encrypt or transform this information in your username, issue that, expire date. So it will transform it into a sort of complex set of characters. So decoders dot a64 dot decode. So what we are decoding now is the JWT secret. Okay, and then we just return this is okay dot okay, then we pass in this byte and we are good. So with this we've actually signed this token that is generated. Um, yeah, so another thing we might also need is to get the username from that token too. So let me create that method. Public string get username. So start generating your giving a particular token, we can also extract the we can extract the username from that token. I'm creating a method for that. So the username can be gotten from this class, from this interface called claims. Okay, it's basically like who is the person laying claim to this token. So then you can get that information from it. So AWTS partner builder dot set signing key. We are making use of that same key method we created above. And then dot build dot ask claims. So what you are trying to get a claim from is this then get body. So it will return the information, an object that contains information about that token itself. So from here we can now return claims dot. You can see the different stuff you can get. You can get subject, audience, ID, issuer, expiration, issue that not before. I hope you understand. So we are interested in subject here, which is the username. Okay. So one more thing is to validate that token, right? So if we set an expiration, we also want to check that it hasn't expired. We want to check that the person who creates the token is actually who he is. So here we can create a method to validate token. So given a string token, so we just validate. In there we just do this AWTS parser builder dot set signing key, which is that same key dot build dot pass and then token. Okay. So at this point we can just return true. So here we just add the catch clause. Okay, so this can be made better. Collapse, collapse. So with this, we catch all the necessary exceptions that could come with that token. So you can see expired, illegal argument, signature exception, malformed JWT exception. So I think we are good this way now. Okay, so this is all that would be inside this particular JWT provider class. With this, you can generate our token, validating it, get the user from that token as well. Yep. So I think yeah, I think okay. So I need to come back in here and then not in here. It's not, it has to be in here now. So inside my JWT authentication filter. So there are quite a number of things I need to do. So in here now I've added this dependency here. So I think yeah. So I could just use all args constructor here. All args constructor. Okay. So the first one is do filter. Okay. So here let me add this annotation non null, and then this one too non null. Okay. So the last one as well at okay. So let's continue. So in here now we're actually trying to check the details of this particular user who is sending a request. So this is what we are trying to do filter internal. So string token equals get. So let's say we create this method again shortly. Get token from requests. Okay. And then so every request that you send would actually have a token as a request header. Okay. So now we need to create this method. So I'm still coming back to this method here. So let's create that method. Call it a private method since we only need it in this class. Private string get token from request and then HTTP service request. It means every HTTP request that is sent, we are trying to filter the the JWT token that is sent with it. So this is where this guy actually handles it for us. So let's say string bearer token equals request dot get header, and then the name of the header should be authorization. So you see how this works when we start testing. So and then we just take if string utils dot add text. So we are trying to check that the text is not empty. It can be null, bearer token, okay? And bearer token dot start with, oh, sorry, start with, start this text bearer, then we can return bearer token dot substring, okay? So if you look at the token itself will start from this point here, right? So if you look at this, you just take the index of bearer 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then this space here is what? 6. So then the next character would, so the character that begins from index 7 is actually going to be our token. Okay? So then just do the ending of it to be bearer token dot length. So I think we don't really need this. Yes. Okay, so with this we are able to get our token. So don't forget that we're actually trying to generate to extract token from HTTP requests, right? So every single request would carry bearer together with the token, right? So this bearer is not the token we are interested in. So rather the first, right, starting from the first text after bearer, okay, or after this space is going to be our token. So you are going to see how that works when we start testing. So I can then come back here now and then yes. So here again we'll just check if string utils dot add text, then passing the token, okay, and then our this token itself is also valid. So we'll just use DWT token dot validate token, right? So passing the token as well. Okay. So once that is valid, we can proceed to do that is user name equal to DWT token provider get user name and you get passing the token. So the user details interface from Spring will be equal to okay, user details service dot user by username and then we passing it to them. So we are going to also work on this method later as we proceed. So user name password authentication token, okay, authentication token will be equal to new username password authentication token. Let's break this down. User details will be passed, then null credentials, and then user details dot get authorities. Okay. So authentication token now dot set um, details, so new web authentication details source dot build details passing the request. So the other thing we need there is security context holder. So this security context holder is particularly useful for getting the currently logged in user, for example. So here we'll just do dot get context dot set authentication and then you pass in the authentication. So this is all that will be going into this method. So we are getting our token. from request. When the user sends a request, right, we extract the token from that request. Then we just here we are just trying to check that the token is not null and the token is valid. Okay. So once that is done, we are also yeah. So we are getting the username from the token thanks to one of the methods we created in here. User the JWT token provider. So and then we are trying to load the username from the database, right? So if it exists, we are able to load. If not, it doesn't work. So from there, we now generate an authentication token. So that authentication token would contain the user details, the username, password, and so. And then we also get the authorities, the roles that are assigned to that user. So we basically get that. Okay. So basically, that's what we are doing in this method. And then one more thing I need to do here is a filter chain dot do filter, and we pass in the request and then response. Oh, sorry. Hey, yeah, I didn't return anything from it. So let me just return all. If the token is passed, it just returns null here. We are good. Okay, 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 okay. So I think we are done with this class now. I think we now need to is it here? Yeah, I think we are good for now as regards configuration. Okay. Yeah. So one more thing, we need to also update this class here, which is security config. Okay. So it will still contain a number of other things here. So yeah. So let's come back and update this class. So this class will take in some dependencies too. So we can just do private, final, then user details service, and user details service. Okay. So, we'll come back. We'll do that. Private, final, and PWT authentication filter. So here, let's add add labs constructor. So we are good. Yep. So if you look down, we've added our password encoder. We've added security filter chain. And let me make this filter chain to be the last thing here. As usually, it's one of the most often changed things in this whole class. Okay, so in here we also need a bin of authentication manager. So public authentication manager. Okay, so this will be authentication configuration, right? Then public configuration. So here we just return configuration.get authentication manager. Okay, so an exception is okay. Then the next step would be the authentication provider. We need to add a bin of that. Yeah, the public authentication provider. We are using DAO, data access objects authentication provider. So this should ensure that we get our user details from the database, right? Okay. Then we call this authentication provider equals new this. Then we get the authentication provider dot set user details. Then authentication provider dot set password encoder. We already have our password encoder. Okay. Then we can return So I think in here again, let's take a look. So at this point, we basically only need this. Okay. So I think I'm also going to have to create a login endpoint later on. So I'll have to come and update this. So when we are done, we can come back to this. So however, here now I need to add something here. So we need to also set dot authentication provider, and we already have that authentication provider. So yeah, HTTP security dot add filter before and database authentication filter, comma, then username filter dot class. Okay, yeah. So I think we are done with this class for now. You can always come back to make adjustments later on. Okay, so one more thing I need to do here is to come back to this guy here. Okay, so as I said, we are going to come back here and then let's annotate this with the add service. Okay, then let's say add all act constructor. So then in here, I will just inject the user credential repository, user yeah, user repository. So in this user repository, I need to check something. Okay, so I think I also need to add something in here as well. So I need to basically add. Okay, I think there's nothing to add. Yeah, there's nothing to add for now. So I think I can then go back to yeah, I can go back to this guy here. Okay, so let me come back here. Okay, so so we are loading user by username here. That's basically the only thing we want to do here. So in here, I will just return user repository, right? Dot find by find by email. I don't have that method. So let me go and have that method in here. Okay, I have exist by email. So okay, so let's do this. So the find by email method. So it will return an optional as optional of user. Then we just type find by email. Then pass in the email here. Let me add this. So let's come back. So now we have this. So so our username is basically going to be our email. That's what we are actually stating here. Okay, and then dot or else true. So that is if the user is not found. So there's every possibility that someone tries to log in with an email that hasn't been registered yet. So you can then throw new user name not found exception. So, and then you can say um, let's say username but not yeah, there's an error here. So I can just add a lambda. So I'm supposed to return an object of user details. Okay. 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 Yeah, okay. So I think, yeah. So basically what I've just done there is I need to make this guy return user details, right? So, but at the moment, my user entity class, so initially was just an ordinary user entity. So I had to make it implement user details. So with that, I can whatever if I'm returning an object of user, it's basically the same as implementing an object of these two. So if you come back here now, yeah, that actually solves the problem for me. Okay, so if we go back to the entity class now, okay, so if we come back to that entity class, let's see, there are some other additions. So if we scroll down, so this should return the username should return email for me. Okay, so this one here should return lists dot of new simple granted granted authority. So I think there's something that I need to also add here, which is for rule. Okay, so I think let me add an enum to handle my role here. So call it enum. Then we'll just say call it role. Okay, so let's see. So this guy will just contain two different roles. Let's say role underscore user and role underscore admin. Okay. So inside this guy here, also it means I also need something for role. Just a private role, role. Okay. In here now, this is where I get to handle issues of user role and so on. Um, yeah. So here I'll just pass in the role dot name. Okay. So any rule that is attached to this user, this method will help us return it. Then it's account non-expired. Let's make this return true. Account non-locked. Let's make this return true. Credentials non-expired. Let's make this return true. Is enabled. That's the next one. Let's make this return true. And then get password is the other thing here. Let me do this first. And then so I think I need to add override this get password to. So this will be return in here. Let me make this password again. Password. And, okay, so I think okay. So yes, I think this is done now. Okay, so I think I can then come back in here just to check that nothing is missing and all is well. Okay, so yes, we've been able to complete this. So the other thing I would like to add here is the login, the method that handles login. So that's the next thing now. So create account would handle sign up. Then login should handle, yeah, login will basically handle the login. Okay. So so to handle this login, I can come back to here. Okay. So I'll just add the method for login. Maybe I think I should add it immediately after create account. Let's do public bank response. Let's say call it login. So you should take the login detail and login detail. So I need to create this class for login detail now. So in here, call it login detail. Login detail will just be at other constructor and no add constructor. Okay, so it private string email, private string password. So in here now, basically need to check uh, authentication, authentication equals okay. So the other thing we just need to do here is so authentication dot equal to authentication manager. I need to undo some dependencies here too. So yeah, so I need authentication manager. That authentication. Okay, let me come back here. Authentication manager dot authenticate. So this authentication will now take a new user name password authentication token. You have the login detail dot get email. Okay, and then login detail dot get password. Okay, so yeah, I think this should work. So the other thing I need to just check here is get the details of the logged in user. Okay, maybe I should just send an email details. Let's say call it login alert equal to email details of user dot use dot subject. Let's say you are logged in. Okay, then the recipient will be login dot get email. Then the message body. Okay, you log in to your account. If you did not initiate this request, please contact your bank. Okay, then we have the and then call email service dot send email alert. Then we have the email alert. That would send our email. Okay, so this sends our email for us. So yeah. So one more thing I just need to do is then return. So don't forget that we actually want to return the token when we call this login endpoint. So I will just do bank response. Do that attribute. So in here I can just do response code, response message. So let's say login subject. Yeah. Let's say um, yeah. So the token that was generated, I will just call it here. Okay. So I need another dependency here for AWT authentication provider. So I can go down here. Then I can open the book. So it's so if we've not missed anything out, so I believe it should work. So let me run this now and see how it goes. Okay, so our app has started running now. And you can see now that we are no longer generating that auto Spring security key in here. So let's okay, sorry, I've actually built this method, but I've not built an endpoint for it yet. So what I should just do is we'll call this a post mapping tool. Actually, we'll say public bank account login and at a request body login on user service dot. How can I do this? Oh, okay. So you are calling user service, right? So in my user service here, I could just do bank response, login. It's been a while, even though I've forgotten some things I did here. Login with no, and then yes, it is. So I think we are good now. So I need to run this again, and then while that is running, I can prepare a I can prepare a request for that. So add request. So let's call it login. So then to slash login, call it request. Let's save this body and then JSON the email. So yeah, at gmail.com. Password was 1234. Okay, so it's telling me forbidding. So you can tell the reason for forbidding, right? So I don't have access to this login endpoint yet. So what I need to go and do now is I need to whitelist this endpoint. Okay, I need to whitelist this endpoint such that it will be usable for sorry, such that it will be usable by anyone without having to log in first. Okay, so in here now, so where are we? So in here now, I'll just do and do that request address. Okay, and the next one will just be that request address. So it's HTTP, sorry, and it's HTTP method. Then the endpoint is slash API slash user slash login. So with this, I'm able to whitelist that endpoint for access. Okay. So once this is done, I can rerun to try it. Okay. So the application is running now, and then I can send this request. Still telling me forbidding. Okay, it says this dot rule is null. Okay. So I think what I should just do here is from the backend, let me go and update the role here. Let me refresh. So, role. Okay. So let's call this guy role underscore admin, for example. So then apply. Role underscore admin. So I think one thing I could just do here is so when creating a new account, for example, I could to set the role to role underscore. Okay. But, okay. So let me run this now. Let's see. So with this, I'm going to create a new user, and then it would be assigned this role underscore admin on creation. So it will mean that his role will no longer be null. So I'm not sure why this isn't working, but normally it should work. Let's see. Okay, so let's create a new user this time. So this user, I'll just change the email address since we need unique emails. Send. He has an account created already. Okay. So let me delete this guy. Let me delete that row. No matter. Okay. So let me create that user again. Okay. So this user is created now. So let me check. So you see the user is created now. And then if you check, so okay, it sets this one to one. Okay, so I think that's where the issue is coming from. Okay, so let's now try to log in and see. Okay, so we have our login success here, right? And then we have this token. Okay, so let's proceed now to credit, for example. Okay, so I want to credit this account. So you will see where the token works. So I want to pick this guy's account number, which is this here. So copy it and then in here paste it. So I want to credit his account with 25,000. Okay, then send this request. So you see that it tells me forbidden, right? So what it means is I need to send this token that was generated here, right? So I need to send this token together with the request. So that's the essence of the KWT. So the user is recognized and is traceable. So let's in the header here, I'll just add authorization, then begin with the word bearer, and then this. So then send. So now you see that I've been able to successfully credit the data. So this is basically the full gist behind. So this is the gist anyway behind uh, authenticating different endpoints. So now, if you look at this as well, if I try to run it, it should tell me forbidden as well, right? So in here, I will just pass in the token, then the value, error, and then this. So this is still telling me forbidden. So let me check and see why. That should work. Normally this should work. Let me try other endpoints with same requests. Auto for Oh, okay. I think let me check now. Yeah, I think that was the issue I had. So, let me check this. This works. Let me use this same account number. This is strange, very strange error. So normally it should work for all of the accounts. So parties send so it works. Okay, so let's see. So normally it should work for every simple one. Oh, okay. So I think I guess now API slash user. These ones are API slash users. So let me change this. It doesn't require this. Let's see. Let me see that endpoint. Okay, user controller. Yeah, API slash user. And then where is the fetch? So this balance inquiry. It's loading. Okay, I actually don't have that endpoint and I'm trying to access it. So I guess that's the issue. So I don't have all of these endpoints here for fetching all users. Okay, so that's why those ones are returning error. So, but so far I think we are fine. For all the methods we have in here, we can actually verify them. So one more thing I need to do here is, yeah. So if we verify that credit works, okay. So this doesn't exist. I didn't create that endpoint here. I think I tested it somewhere else, but not on this system. Fed user tool doesn't exist, but balance inquiry exists and it works. Name inquiry. Let me try this and send. It tells me forbidden. So let me check again. Okay. This is name inquiry, so it should work. I see that. Yeah, it should. It should work. So, but anyway, I'm sure this is a minor error as it's okay. It says request get method is not supported. So I think we have our reason for why that doesn't work. This is name inquiry and it should be a get method. Yeah. Okay. So in here, come to name your query. It's telling me forbidden. Let me check that endpoint again. So I'm calling users. So change it to user. Not support. So let me check that name of query again. Okay, it's coming in as a request body actually. So I think that's why it's not working. So let me just click this. Okay. So I can erase all of this. Then that's this. So it like returns this now. So every single thing works. So however, I can give you that challenge to create this method, and you will see that it works perfectly as well. So I can run this again. I can change it to debit, for example. Just see that the debit also works. Let's say we debit just 2,000. Send. So you see that the debit also works as well. I'm now at 48k instead of 50k. So yeah. So basically, this is just the basics of authentication, sign up, and so on. So I think this could be all for this particular course. However, there's one more thing I would like to do. So how can we do two-factor authentication? I think that should be the next thing on my mind now. So two-factor authentication such that when you sign up, you probably want to get an OTP and then verify your email. Okay. How about if you want to reset password? How about if you want to yeah, if someone forgets his password and needs to reset it. So yeah, I think those are some things that I would need to take a look at. So and if possible, I might just create a separate authentication uh, tutorial itself. And yeah, I think we should be good. So aside that, on some of the next things here is that I will be creating a new playlist, this time for basic Java programming. So I'm going to start from the basics, from data types and so on. So I realize that this is also something needed by people who want to be programmers from the scratch too. So yeah, so this would be, like I said, I'm promising two things. I'm going to work on OTP. I'm going to work on different things that pertains to authentication, such as resetting or forgot password, and yeah, quite a number of other things too. So I'll work on that and then upload the lectures. And this time it won't be too long again before I upload my next lectures. So the other thing I'm also promising is basic lectures as well, or basic tutorials as well on Java. So we'll be going from one topic to the other and then we'll go step by step. So all right guys, it's been a nice journey, and I think we are almost done with this now. So stay tuned and see you again in the next recording. Bye for now.